Happy Sabbath, everyone. And the week went by very fast. All right, today is Friday evening, or Friday night, and I know everyone should be tired. So we're going to see how fast we can go through this. And this is a subject that we had started in the class, and you can see the title. Remember, we discussed this a bit. And just a few more statements is added since the last time we met, and then we will just post it in our class forum. All right, so the title of our study today is the third, and our prayer thought is taken from Timely Greetings, Volume 1, number 21, page 21. And it reads as follows. Most Christians know that there are two classes in the church, wheat and tares, but few, if any, seem to care. We as reformers, though, especially since we have been given this great light on the subject, cannot afford to be indifferent. We may now intelligently choose to be wheat or choose to be tares. So the choice to become a wheat or a tare is dependent on the individual. God does not force people into being one or the other. It's a choice, and inspiration tells us that we have to choose. If after knowing this truth, some choose to be tares, they of course will have gained nothing and need not be surprised when they land in hell. So this is why we're told to choose ye this day whom ye shall serve. Okay, on that note, let's kneel for those who can, and let us pray. Heavenly Father, it's with grateful hearts that we come before your presence once again. This is another Sabbath day, and we pray now that your blessing will be upon us as we spend a few minutes in the studying of your words. I pray that those on live stream will also get a blessing, and that you'll be with your people wherever we may be, scattered the world over. Through Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right. So that's the Advent world population, if there should be such a thing. You have wheat and you have tares. And so this essentially is the division that Brother Houtif brought out that we can all make a choice. And you know, people cross over. Tares change at times. Paul was a tare, and he became a wheat. And if he had died in his sins, we know he would have been lost. But God in his mercy reached out and helped him, and he crossed the line and became a wheat. And you know, individuals in the past used to be good, if you look at the Bible, and some have turned back from following Christ. And so we have wheat and we have tares. But in addition to wheat and tares, there's another element, and it's brought out in Psalm 1 and verse 4. The ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff which a wind driveth away. So chaff, for those who know about corn, you have the chaff, or that kind of grainy stuff that attached itself to the corn that you will take off. And so that would be considered the chaff. And chaff attaches itself to wheat too. And you have chaff and rice. So we're talking about the chaff or ungodly. So now here's Matthew chapter 3, verse 11 and 12, speaking again of the chaff. Verse 11, I indeed, this is John speaking, baptize you with water and unto repentance. But he that cometh after me is mightier than I, whose shoe I am not worthy to bear. He shall baptize you with the Holy Ghost and with fire, whose fan is in his hand, and he will thoroughly purge his floor and gather his wheat into the garner. But he will burn up the chaff with unquenchable fire. So now, Brother Houtif, in White House Recruiter, page 31, states the following. Thus, adding evidence to evidence, the scriptures overwhelmingly show the harvest to be the judgment of the living, God's gathering the wheat, his own, from among all nations, and is destroying the tares and the chaff. So while you have tares, which is the big heading, you have chaff, as you would see, that are amongst the tares. And these are people that attach themselves on. So you have people that are just tear-like in their behavior, and you have, people that are chaff-like. Now, he continues. Timely greetings, volume 1, number 21, page 9. From this parable is seen that when a Christian falls asleep, Satan comes along and sows seeds of idleness in his heart, so as to cause him to be cast out with the tares. At the commencement of the harvest, therefore, this class of tares, so tares are classified, or they're put in classes. So let's say this was all the tares. You have different classification of tares. And if you look in the church, you have all different types of groups that people split off and attach themselves to. You might have feast people. You have, what else are kind of people I'd call without calling people's name? Anti-Trinitarian people. You have all kind of different classification of tares that people fit themselves into based on their own mode of thinking. And so this, if you were supposed to class tares, you don't have tares that behave was one type of way. And this is why inspiration said, at the commencement of the harvest, therefore, this class of tares is the first to appear as such. It is high time to learn that religion is not an opiate. And so you have different classes of tares. We too might not be all in one place. People can be wheat, but they're not amongst us, because the Lord says, other sheep I have, which are what? Not of this fold. Them I also must bring. So the Lord has to gather his people, and it's the enemy's effort to use his people to cause confusion. Now, Brother Houtif is going to go in, and inspiration is going to tell us how the Lord is going to remedy this problem that we face with this wheat and tare, and the tares being just all over the place, permeating himself in everything to thwart God's plans. Zechariah 13, verse 6 and 7, it reads as follows. And one shall say unto him, what are these wounds in thine hands? Then he shall answer, those with which I was wounded in the house of my friends. Awake, O sword, against my shepherd. And the shepherd, Brother Houtif here, puts as a small s. Awake, O sword, against my shepherd, and against the man that is my fellow, saith the Lord of hosts. Smite the shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered, and I will turn mine hand upon the little ones. Comment. I have no special comments to make on verse 6 and 7. So he had no special comment. He's going to have comments, but they're not special. So we're going to see what he's going to say. I have no special comments to make on verse 6 and 7, other than what is commonly understood among Christians. He continues with his comment. It is plain to see, though, that after the Lord's shepherd is smitten, then it is that the Lord will separate his people. So the first thing that has to happen, the Lord has to smite the shepherd first. The shepherd has to be smitten. Once the shepherd is smitten, the small s shepherd, the Lord will come and separate his people. So he's going to do some separation. So, and that was Timely Greetings, Volume 1, number 18, page 17. In Volume 2 of the Symbolic Code, numbers 5 and 6, page 8, this is one class of tare, a bad class. He goes in. God does not want to bring heathen unconverted into the church for the slaughter of Ezekiel 9. So that is not God's desire, to bring any heathen unconverted into the church for the slaughter of Ezekiel 9. But if the Lord doesn't want it, who would want to do it? Satan would want to do it. But he is exceedingly anxious to save the church. Neither is he working to bring many souls into the truth because of the church members who have never been converted. So God doesn't desire to bring any heathen into the church. But in Answer Book 2, page 11, we're told the following. Yea, he, this is the devil, made a complete turnabout and even compelled the heathen to join the church, thereby casting out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. Revelation 12, verse 15. From persecuting those who would unite with the church, he turned to persecuting those who would not, so that she might be flooded with unconverted Eden, and thereby carried away of the flood. So we see what he did. God didn't want the heathens to come into church, but he brought them in. So we have all kinds of tares amongst the tares, different classes of tares. And some of the tares are just outright heathens whose their purpose is just to cause the church to go astray. We go back to what will happen after the shepherd is smitten. And we go back to 1 TG number 18, page 17. And he says, it is plain to see, though, that after the Lord's shepherd is smitten, then the Lord will come to separate his people. He continues in the same timely greetings. Zechariah 8 now, 13 verse 8. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. 2 shall be in the field, the one shall be taken, and the other left. 2 shall be in the bed, the one shall be taken, the other left. So 2 parts are cut off, and 1 part, the third, shall be left therein. In this separation, according to verse 8, and this happens after the shepherd is smitten. So the shepherd is commenting what will happen after he's smitten. We're clear? So now he's prophesying of the future when he was alive. In this separation, according to verse 8, the people are divided in 3 parts. Evidently, they are the saints, the hypocrites, and the heathen. So the hypocrites and the heathen are all tares. Okay? Now, the 2 latter parts are to be cut off, separated from the saints, and they are to die. Concerning the future of the third, let us read. So before we go, if this was an old pie, you have the heathen, the hypocrites, and the saints. And the Lord takes this third for himself in the separation. Okay? So now, Brother Billy, quickly, how many members presently does the Seventh-day Adventist Church consist of?
25 to 26 million.
The Lord is saying he's going to take a third in the separation that's coming for himself. So now, 25 million divided by 3. What we're looking at? About 8 million. Okay. About a third. So now, we're going to continue. We understand what has been said so far? Everybody's clear so far? So now, how many of the evil angels fell from heaven? A third. We're clear? Okay. Answer book 4, page 35 and 36. By the same law of accountability, our sacred responsibility, even though you may have come into the message only recently, you can be eligible for the election of the 144,000. if you live up to the message that is to purify and seal them. Whether or not for a certainty, however, you'll be one of them, we do not know. But if you are faithful to the message, you will at least be one. The Lord is going to take a third of the church after the shepherd is smitten in the purification. So we have no idea how many righteous people are going to stand once the Adventist church is purified. He's going to continue and give us an idea how many the Lord is going to take. Answer book 4, page 34 and 35. In the final analysis, this is the final analysis, and this was analysis. When you do analysis, you know what you're doing? Your statistics. Just a reckoning. You're looking at numbers and figures. So he knew, and this is the final analysis. After all is said and done, looking at the numbers, shifting the figures around. In the final analysis, however, it is neither the rod's purpose nor its intent to say just how many wise and how many foolish there will be in the first fruits harvest. He couldn't tell. We can't tell. For when the whole truth is made known, the whole truth, the complete picture, the figure of the five wise virgins, besides comprehending the 144,000 from the tribes of Israel, may be found to include a considerable number of Gentile nations. We don't know what that third will be as yet, after the purification takes place. Now he continues. Zechariah 13 verse 9 now. And I will bring the third part, his part, through the what? And will what? Refine them as silver is refined. God's third must be purified. And I will try them as gold is tried. And they shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people. And they shall say, the Lord is what? This is a class that the Lord is going to try, purified. His third. Now let me give you an idea. If you have a pizza or a circle, you can cut it into 4 pieces. Okay? So this, you see the first circle right here. This would be 1/4. So this is one piece. You can cut right here and get another piece. And you can cut here and get another piece. You understand? So now, if you look at this, so this would be 1/4. One of being able to divide it into 4 parts, equal parts. This is 1/3. So if I split right here, I can get 3 pieces. And this is 1/2. Something that is divided in half. The Lord wants 1/3. That's what he's going to get. This 1/3 that he's getting from the church will eventually make up the 1/3 that came from heaven, that fell, the angels. You understand? There'll be a part of the complement to make up the 1/3 that fell. Are we clear? No. Another 1/3, the mothers of Israel. But note that Jacob went to Padan Aram, to the house of Bethuel, his mother's father. There he married Leah and Rachel, the daughters of Laban, Zilpah and Bilhah, the maids of Leah and Rachel, also became his wives. These are the mothers whence the 12 tribes came, but they are only the mothers in type of the true tribes, the 144,000. Leah was the only legal wife to Jacob. Rachel was her sister. Zilpah and Bilhah were bondwomen. And that's from Shepherd Rod, Volume 1, 61 to 62. Who was the only legal wife? Leah. Now you see this again? We have Rachel, we have Leah, we have Zilpah and Bilhah. But while we have Leah, Rachel, Zilpah, and Bilhah, we're going to see what Brother Houtif did with them, with his analysis. Let Leah represent the true church of Christ, Seventh-day Adventists. Rachel, a sister church, but not true, Protestant. Zilpah and Bilhah, the world religious and irreligious. So he put Zilpah and Bilhah as one classification, world religious and irreligious. It continued, these are the mothers of the 144,000 and the way the 144 are gathered. So we have 4 mothers that are typical, that where the 144,000 are going to be born. I'm not going to bore you a lot with that, but this is what we have. We have Leah, represent the true church. We have Rachel. We have Zilpah and Bilhah. So the only class that the Lord wants right here is this one. The Leah class. This one. These two Brother Houtif put together. Religious and irreligious. And we're not going to spend a lot of time on that because of the time that we have. This is the world. When the 144,000 are sealed and those with them, and the Lord gathers those people, how many people do we have on planet Earth? 78 billion. Okay. How many people will be saved in the loud cry? All right. Listen, inspiration tells us the exact number that will be saved in the loud cry. Track 5, page 45 through to 46. After the mountain was set afire, it was cast into the sea. The sea, the storehouse of waters, represent the original abode of peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. Revelation 17, verse 15. Hence, while it stands for the world as a whole, the place wherein the nations, the waters, reside, it definitely localized the place wherein the church, the mountain, appears. This is borne out by the prophet's words. Sing unto the Lord a new song, and his praise unto the ends of the earth. He that go down to the sea, where the world originated, open and close bracket, Palestine, and all that is therein, Isaiah 42, verse 10. Brother Houtif comment. Bear in mind that only 1/3 of the sea, our world, became blood. Also, the Israelite movement reached only a part of the world, in the symbolic terms, the 1/3 part of the sea. So when the children of Israel came out of Egypt, they were supposed to enlarge their borders until their kingdom embraced the world. But they failed. Brother Houtif said they were only able to reach 1/3 of the world and stop. And then they failed. Their work came to an end. Those Eden with whom the movement came into close contact, especially in the promised land, very obviously then, the mountain is symbolical of the Old Testament church. That's a type. He goes on. When the mountain, the church, was cast into the sea, the 1/3 part of the sea became blood. The 1/3 part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died. Let me go for time. Accordingly, that portion, Palestine, became a life-saving refuge to those who fully united with the movement, and they were only able to reach 1/3. So from the time they left Egypt until the time their work came to an end, they were only able to save 1/3. And the Lord saw it as forethought design, as a type. So now, in the antitype, Brother Houtif is going to show again how many people God's last day church will reach, the world in the end time, and the great multitude. He says the following, track 5, page 95 and 94. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, all the land, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the 1/3 shall be left therein. And I will bring the 1/3 part through the fire, and I will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, the Lord is my God, Zechariah 13, verse 8 and 9. Brother Hotif is going to comment again on these verses, and he's going to make another comment. This is what he says. 2 parts lost and 1 part saved make 3 parts in all. So if you had the world, 1 part, 2 part, 3 part. So if you have 7 billion people, you're dividing the 7 billion or 8 billion into 3 parts. This is what he says. The 1/3, Revelation 9 verse 15, shall be slain by fire, smoke, and brimstone. Revelation 9 verse 8. That's what's going to kill 1/3 of some of the people before probation closes. The remaining wicked who are slain by the 7 last plague and the brightness of his coming after probation closes make the other 1/3. We're clear so far? The saved, the last 1/3, are the 1/3 left therein. Zechariah 13 verse 8. We understand what's happening? So, let's go again. 2 parts lost, 1 part saved, make 3 parts in all. So when the saints are going out, they will know already that inspiration already left on record how many people are going to be saved in the loud cry. He says, 1/3 shall be slain by fire, smoke, and brimstone. And that references in Revelation 9, verse 18. And that happens before probation closes. When probation closes, you have some wicked who Christ will rain the plagues on. And some of them that will be alive to see his second coming, whom his brightness will kill. The remaining wicked who are slain by the 7 last plague, that's in Revelation 16, and by the brightness of his coming, 2 Thessalonians 2 verse 8, after probation closes, make the other 1/3, the saved, the last 1/3, are the 1/3 left therein. So as Israel after the flesh was able to reach 1/3, Israel after the spirit will also reach 1/3. So the Lord gets his 1/3 from the SDA church that goes out and get 1/3 of the great multitude. Brother Jan. Okay. We have a question. Brother Keedan is online and he has a question. Yes, Brother Keedan, go ahead.
One is those with the 144,000, or is it the great multitude?
Okay, I heard him. You have those that are with the 144 first in the SDA church, and then those that are with the 144,000, along with the 144,000, they go out and get the 1/3 from the world.
Okay, clear.
Okay, all right. So let me go back. Thanks, Brother Jan. I'm just waiting for them to bring. We're clear so far? Okay, good. All right. Okay. Thank you. So now, the saved, this is now the saved, the last 1/3 are the 1/3 left therein. And so we see the saved are the last 1/3, and 1/3 shall be slain by fire, smoke, and brimstone before probation close, and this second 1/3 is slain by the 7 last plague and by the brightness of his coming after probation close, and this is the 1/3 left to go in the chariot, along with the third that came from the SDA church. We're clear? So these are the only set that goes to heaven. So no, it will be a massive harvest of the saints in the planet Earth. Now, inspiration continues. I have about 10 minutes left. We will do this probably another Sabbath morning. Sing and rejoice, O daughter of Zion. For lo, I come, and I will dwell in the midst of thee, saith the Lord. And many nations shall be joined to the Lord in that day, and shall be my people, and I will dwell in the midst of them. Zechariah 2, verse 10 and 11. Yea, many people and strong nations shall come and seek the Lord of hosts in Jerusalem. The church without reference to location, and I'll give you Brother Houtif comments reference soon. And to pray before the Lord, Zechariah 8, verse 22. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring upon thee the forces, or margin, wealth. Forces mean wealth of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. Isaiah 60, verse 11. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. And I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver. And it continues. See again, this is the Lord's portion. So the Lord is going to get at least 2.5 billion people in the loud cry. So the kingdom will be a massive place, and this great multitude will be a great multitude which no man can number. Now, Brother Houtif continues. Shepherd Volume 2, page 264. And he's asking, what is 3,000 converts in one day in comparison to 1/3 of the people saved in this present generation? Exclamation mark. Wow. Gathered in during the last hours of probationary time. Truly then, it can be said, the glory of the first temple, or the first section of the church, was nothing in comparison with the second, and that's the golden candlestick church. The last section of the church, or the golden candlestick church of Zechariah chapter 4, the last section of the church in the time of the loud cry, is indeed the harvest time, the end of the world. So now we will understand what the word harvest mean. And here again, inspiration says, God is going to gather 1/3 of the people on planet Earth. So now, when 1/3 of the planet Earth comes into the kingdom, this is why the 144,000 will be called men wondered at. And that's just men for humanity. Because 2 or 3 billion people that will come in and look at these people, these obscure people that all these truth before. So what the Lord is opening to us is that he is indeed going to have a massive harvest. First in the Adventist church. First in the Adventist church. And so, Brother Houtif says, Zechariah chapter 4, the antitypical symbols of the second temple, the type, were shown to Zechariah in vision and recorded in the 4th chapter. And this will be a massive church. Massive, massive church. Now, we are going to see why the Lord was always anxious to get 1/3. The third. Why is the Lord so specific about the third? 1/3 of the angels fell from heaven. 1/3 will be saved in the loud cry. 1/3 is saved from the church. And 1/3 of all humanity, from the beginning of time to the end of time, will make up the 1/3 that fell from heaven. 1/3 was saved by Israel after the flesh as a type. And 1/3 will be saved by Israel after the spirit in the loud cry. And the Lord brings out 1/3 from the SDA church to go save 1/3 from the world. And from the beginning of time to the end of time, the Lord will save 1/3 to compensate for the angels that fell from heaven. And this is what inspiration says. Review and Herald, May 29th, 1900. The vacancies made in heaven by the fall of Satan and his angels will be filled by the redeemed of the Lord. You understand what the Lord is about to do? So from when the last saint walks into the kingdom, the Lord knows that the third that fell from heaven is completely made up. And so we were born through providence. All of us did not come here by chance. The Lord brought us into being to make up that third that fell. And so, just to think, during the process of procreation, for us to be born, how many others started to swim to go fertilize the egg and did not make it? Millions tried, but you through providence make it. And so, it was not that they were not good enough, that they did not exist as human beings on planet Earth, but the Lord saw something special in us. And as he said to Jeremiah, before thou was born, I knew thee. And before thou was conceived, I called thee. And so the Lord is saying the same thing to us. Again, SDA Bible Commentary, volume 1, page 1082. God created man for his own glory, that after test and trial, the human family might become one with the heavenly family. It was God's purpose to repopulate heaven with the human family. And he has not failed. He is still going to get the third. He's going to get the third from the church. He's going to get the third from the world. And he's going to get the third from Adam to the end. He cannot fail. So God will not fail, has never failed, and he will not fail us now. And I close with this one from Christ Triumphant. It was God's purpose to repopulate heaven with the human family if they would show themselves obedient to his every word. Adam was to be tested to see whether he would be obedient as the loyal angel or disobedient. If he stood the test, his instruction to his children would have been only of loyalty. His mind and thoughts would have been as the mind and thoughts of God. And God is going to get back a set of children of Adam to think and behave like that. So listen, I pray that none of us will be missing from that third. Not from the third from the church, and not from the third that will go out to save the third from the world. And finally, when we board the chariot, everyone in that chariot will know that we are replacing the third that fell. Kings and queens indeed. God bless you all, and may we all be saved. Have a wonderful Sabbath.